Broadcast. Okay, now broadcast. Facebook Live. Share on my own timeline.
Okay.
And
I, of course, have no idea what you're doing.
don't. Oh, you know what you should do? You should just go to my timeline and see what. Oh, you know what you should do? You should just go to my timeline and see what. So I
Now
know
I'm getting feedback.
go to my timeline. Maybe that's not a good idea.
Wow, this is like infinite. It's infinite. It's an infinite feedback. It's like, you ever see those sci-fi movies where you see mirror, 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 you see the same thing in all the mirrors deep? That's when you said you should go to my timeline. That's exactly what happened.
Okay, now we're going live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 2. No, I'm just saying 1. All right. I think we are live, and we meaning the CRM Playaz, but this is a, what did you call it?
A Playaz pop-up.
A Playaz pop-up, Pop-Tart, something is popping around here. So I'm Brent Leary, and I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona, and you're Paul Greenberg, and you're where?
I'm in Houston, Texas. I almost said Houston, California, but I'm in Houston, Texas.
Is there a Houston, California? I mean, there's
no, which would have put me in limbo. It would have been very bad.
there's actually a Houston, Georgia, but they pronounce it Houston, I think, something like that.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's like the New York street. The New York street is Houston Street, and it's spelled like Houston, down in the village.
Well,
this city is wrong.
The city's wrong?
Georgia's Houston, and New York's Houston. That's 2-1. This is Houston.
2-1.
So they're wrong. This is Houston, Texas.
The Houston tap? Yeah, you go ahead and say it when you get out there.
Yeah.
See how that goes for you.
Just do me a favor and send someone to pick up my remains.
Yeah, wear a 10-gallon hat. Maybe that'll help. I don't know.
That's what. No, you'll just have to put all my remains in that 10-gallon hat. This will be left.
We got to do this real quick, right? Because you got a place to go, and I guess I got some place to go. So, but there's a couple of topics that seem to spark some interest, or they spark something. So the first one was Microsoft's new announcement of the Outlook Contact. Is it called Contact Manager?
No, Customer Manager.
Customer Manager, which is aimed at the very small end of the market. It's basically a nice kind of add-on to Outlook to allow small companies, like teams of 1 to 5 employees or so, to be able to kind of manage their relationship right from within the inbox. It's a free service that allows folks that have Outlook to use it. And quite honestly, it's basically like seems like a stepping stone to allow smaller businesses who aren't using full-blown CRM to start using some of the functionality that comes with CRM, with kind of go through the hoops of full-blown CRM, and maybe gets them an opportunity to start on the path to using CRM as they get more and more comfortable with it and get a chance to use the features. And then as their needs get more complex, then they can step into it. So what's your take on it, Mr. G?
Well, you know what? I mean, you're right. And that's exactly their plan, I think. It's actually, when I first heard about it, I was curious, but I was wary because I still remember the Intuit Quicken CRM.
They tried it twice.
They tried arguably the world's worst application ever of any kind.
Remember when they bought Intellium? Remember that company, Intellium?
Yeah, I do.
They bought the technology, and we were like, well, Intellium wasn't a bad system. Maybe they're going to do something cool with it. No,
they did something ice cold with it. It was horrible. I mean, it was truly horrible. And the second incarnation was the only thing 2.0 meant there was 2 times worse than the first.
Well, they made a contact manager, and it didn't integrate with Outlook. I
I
mean,
know. I know. It was just the worst thought out thing probably Intuit's biggest failure. They've done everything else so well, and then that thing was a total failure. So of course that's what came to mind. So I asked them for a demo, which I saw on Monday, and it actually was pretty good. For 1 to 5 people. I mean, it's SFA, it's Salesforce automation. It's not customer service. There's no marketing really. It's straightforward. It covers all the kind of fundamentals for a small company that doesn't need things like pipeline management. It's got but the basics for opportunity management and contact management, account management, all those other things that you would normally need for SFA, and tasks and uh, are all there. But the thing that's made it kind of interesting is they built in a fair amount of pretty decent amount of automation, and also they have a small amount of AI built into it too. So it actually provides you not only with sort of automatically capturing data and then incorporating it into a customer record, which is actually sitting in Exchange. It's sitting you get it via Exchange. You don't get it native to the customer manager, but it's not only capturing all that data automatically, but what it's also doing, which is really interesting to me, when it comes to the customer record, is tracking the tasks, tracking the actions that have occurred and the interactions that have occurred, and then making suggestions for best next action on a rather simple level, right? Which is not something I've seen in any other one of that nature, especially one that's free. The
mhm.
other thing which I liked about it too is that it's pretty. I mean, their 1.0 version of the sort of the landing page, so to speak, is kind of simple and text driven. It's not very attractive. It's not really a dashboard per se, but it does put everything on a single page. So you see all the activities that have gone on the right. In the middle, you'll see all the things that you need to be doing with multiple opportunities and customers. And then on the left, you'll see the best next action or the alerts or other things that are coming up. Now, the alerts are still unfiltered, so you're not everything that's an alert's going to show up there. No priorities, no importance. That's all manual still. You have to manually input those kind of things. But for something that's free, and basically you have to be a Office 365 user. You have to have Exchange, and you have to have Outlook, obviously. It's pretty damn good. I mean, it was actually surprisingly valuable. It's very simple. It's not scalable to the enterprise per se, but it is easily transferable to Dynamics 365 if you want to go that way.
And I know there's in our group of industry watcher kind of people, there was some mixed thoughts and opinions on it. And I think the key is, this isn't something that's supposed to be earth shattering or groundbreaking. It's not going to make people, stand up and take notice outside of our little sphere. But it's like a meat and potatoes move. It's a way to get the lower end of the market. Like you said, how many CRM-ish kind of applications that are aimed at 0 to 5, 0 to 10 is doing anything with next best actions involved with it, or any real relationship intelligence being and it's dabbled or included in? There's just not a lot. So the fact that they've done this, and they've done it at a at a cost point that's a price point that's, well, you can't be free. So it's I think it's a pretty good. It's not gonna make a lot of people outside of us take note, but I think the small end of the market, it's a nice way for them to start to get in the CRM in the more robust sense, without having to spend a lot and not having to learn a whole lot right off the bat. It gives them something they can get their feet wet in, and I think that's the big takeaway for me. And I think it's cool that the low end of the market is starting to get some of the stuff that the big guys are getting. So it's not rocket science. It's not going to make people run out and start screaming from the mountaintops. But small businesses, I think, are going to gain something from it.
I totally agree. When it boils down to it, Microsoft's filling a hole they have. Number one. I mean, there's some issues, or dangers, I should say. The problem is when people think SMB or CRM, so to speak, they're thinking really more the 10 and 12 and 15 kind of user. So you're going to, they start thinking about all these different competitors who are out there like Converge Hub and, uh, Act and Sage and all these other ones that have, Infusionsoft and so on and so forth, who really, Infusionsoft is theoretically the only one that probably competes in that smaller space, really. I mean, the other ones, not that the other ones don't sell there, but they're not looking there. Right. This one has a potential to put a dent in Infusionsoft because it's simpler and it's free. But if you want marketing functionality, you're not going to get it here. So I think there's a bit of potential market confusion, which they're going to have to be explicit about making it quite clear. But I do think that differentiator around the best next action is really kind of slick.
I think so. By the way, since I am here in Phoenix, I am here for a reason. A company called Nexty, but they're well known in the kind of the VoIP communications for the SMB space, and I was basically here because they announced that they're too kind of throwing their hat into the ring when it comes to CRM, and they're aiming, they're traditionally focused on the SMB space, but I don't have much of an opinion just yet. I just sat through the announcement yesterday. I haven't gotten any kind of a look at it yet, so I'm not going to give you any of my thoughts on that until that happens. But it just goes to show that there's a lot of action going on in the SMB space. I think it's kind of cool. I think Salesforce is kind of recommitting to the SMB space. You got Microsoft making moves. You got all these kind of newer companies that are coming up, and so that it's kind of interesting. But that's why we call it a pop-up, because we got to pop out of here.
Yeah, well, but these are fun. We can do a lot of these little pop-ups. It's like these little pop-up restaurants, right? They're there for a short period of time and they go away, right? And they're themed. So here we have our first themed pop-up on Facebook. Another innovation for the CRM players.
There you go. All right, so we'll be back with the next one. We don't know when it is, but we'll pop up and tell you when that happens.
See you then.
All right.